I've taken many coaching calls from software engineers looking to find more happiness and enjoyment in their work and lives outside of work. And I noticed a pattern in 3 things specifically that, when not taken into consideration, is having a huge impact on how miserable people are becoming. So let's go over my framework, which I refer to as the software engineer's triangle of happiness. I call it that because it's a triangle and everything needs to be in an equal measure. And I promise that if you find balance in these 3 things, it will impact not only the job you're in now, but any job you take in the future. Keyword is balanced. Let's go on to the first one, which is money. Now, I can start this off with a question. How would you feel if you were being paid less than the person you were working with who's doing the same amount of work? Would you really be happy doing a job if you knew another company out there would pay you more to do the exact same thing? Now, I can honestly say for them both, the answer for myself would be no. And I can only assume that you would feel the exact same way. Why would you want to work somewhere where you're getting paid less for somebody doing the same work? Or why would you want to stay at a company when you could go to another company to get paid more to do the exact same job? Being paid fairly and being paid your worth are 2 very important factors to life. You will likely not turn up to work happy knowing that you're being underpaid for the work that you're doing. So if you feel like you're being underpaid or that you are not being paid fairly compared to your colleagues, it's probably time to have that discussion with yourself and wonder whether it's time to move on. Money is the top part of our triangle, but without the other 2 parts, it would be pointless. So before you go handing in your notice, let's cover the next part of the triangle. Because what does money mean if you're turning up to a workplace every day that you hate to be at? We hear a lot about culture in tech, from ping pong tables to pizza and beers on a Friday to foosball tables and beanie chairs, and if you work at Google, maybe a slide. But the tech bro era is long gone. We're not interested in that anymore. We want to be challenged, we want to be paid fairly, and we also want to be supported in being ourselves in the workplace. If you don't know, software engineering is a team sport. We work with people from all over the company and sometimes all over the world. It's taxing and tiring because dealing with different people all the time is a real soft skill and it takes time to develop. But what if those people were horrible? What if they didn't support you or help you when you were stuck? What if they didn't want to talk to you or they just weren't interested? What if you had a manager who purposely kept you down and stopped you getting promotions or passed you over for promotions? Would you honestly take a high-paying job if the culture was horrible? You went to work every day feeling lonely and isolated? There's a very, very high chance you're saying no to yourself right now, because I wouldn't either. And there was a time in my life where I thought money was everything, and I thought, well, if I get a really high paying job, I'm not bothered if I'm miserable in work. But truth be told, nowadays, as software engineers, we'd rather be paid less to do more challenging work. That's why people leave big companies like Google and Microsoft to go work at a startup. When looking at your day-to-day and your career, you should be happy to be yourself. You should 100% be able to be the unique you that you are, and you should also expect that the people that you work with accept that. Now, obviously, there are boundaries within that, but we all work together. We should all support each other in our downtimes and in our highs, especially in software engineering, because you can honestly bring your best self to work when you are 100% happy in the environment that you're working in. So, as I said about money, if you feel that the support and the environment that you're not in is not very conducive to your career, it's probably time to have that conversation with yourself again and time to move on. So that's part 1 and 2 of the triangle of happiness framework. It's very important to get paid your worth, and it's also very important to be in an environment that fosters your growth and your talent. And with those 2 things in place, it makes the final part of the triangle of happiness even easier to achieve. That's being in a place that offers you challenges. Now, I do not think I've ever met a software engineer in my life who does not love a challenge. That's what we got into the industry for. We love to be challenged and we love to figure things out. That feeling of grinding through a problem, those constant tabs, having 100 tabs open, it's all just fun. And when you get to close them all off, how great it feels once you've actually solved the problem. That challenge, coupled with the fact that we know not everyone can do this, is what consistently makes us want to keep moving forwards in our career, taking on bigger projects and delivering more value to the companies that we are with. But what if your job was very mundane? What if there were no challenges to be solved? You didn't get to use new technologies? Would you turn up every day trying to do your best when there was nothing to actually do? Now, again, there might have been a part of me that thought, well, if I'm being paid well and the company's okay to work at, the people are generally nice, then I don't mind doing small bits day to day. But as I grew as a software engineer, I realized that I love to be challenged and do new things. So that's again why people go to companies like small startups or small tech startups, because they get constantly challenged in a good environment, and that's what makes us feel good in what we do. So to recap the triangle of happiness, it's important to get paid your worth, but what good is being paid well if you are not in a supportive or nice working environment? Now, what good is being in a supportive environment, being paid well, if you're not being challenged to do any meaningful work? And finally, what good is doing meaningful work if you're not being paid well for it? This is how the 3 parts of the triangle come together. Get paid your worth, be in a supportive environment, and constantly be challenged to deliver your best work. They all work together in harmony. Now, you may be saying dissect there saying, well, actually, I don't find happiness in my work. I'm just happy to be paid to go out there and do what I need to do. Now that's fine. That is a piece of advice I gave to one of the people I had a coaching call with. He did not find happiness in his work. For people who don't find happiness in work, they can find happiness in the enablement that work allows them to do. So he's a very well-paid software engineer. So he could go out hiking, he could go out traveling, he could do sports, but he didn't realize that that was a benefit of the career that he has. Whatever it is that makes you happy outside of work, use that as your catalyst in work to keep doing your best, to be happy in what you do, to find essentially happiness outside. Now, I'd really appreciate if you did enjoy this video to like it, subscribe and share. It helps massively, and I'd also love your opinions in the comments on what you think of my framework. Do you find happiness in what you do? If not, how did you or how do you find happiness in what you do? Looking forward to it.